guys, so I wanted to film my nonfiction TBR for this year of nonfiction books that I want to read, and maybe some of them might be ones that my significant other might want to read with me while we're at it. So these are just some books that I have. Let me pull up my notes here, that I've written down from recommendations from other YouTubers, and just ones that I know that I also own on my bookshelf. And I'm not going to get all the ones that I own off my bookshelf because that would just take too much time. So I'm just going to list them off. But and I would have filmed this earlier, but things got a little chaotic around the apartment, and the fire alarm had gone off, so we had to get out of the building, and so now I'm filming this video. But so the nonfiction books that I have on my TBR, and one of them I added to StoryGraph just earlier when I was rewatching another YouTube video that I had started watching before the fire alarm went off situation, so I had to rewatch it and to pick up that I wanted to read from there. Anyways, long story short, I'm just going to get into the list, and I also sent this list over to my significant other, like he had mentioned in his video, which I was going to watch his live when the fire alarm went off. And so I apologize. Now I'm finally getting around to watching your live, Tom, but I was going to watch it earlier, and then the fire alarm went off, and so I couldn't. So now I'm watching it to see what he had to say. But him and I are going to start. I'm doing a book club, so to speak, with my neighbor. We're just like reading whatever we decide to put on our TBR. So my significant other had asked me, would I do a book club with him as well, but geared towards more like nonfiction books? And I told him, sure, we could do that. So the first book we're going to read is The All About Love by Bell Hooks, and it's a nonfiction book about like relationships and stuff like that. So, and I feel like it would be kind of a good one for both of us to read. So I'll insert a picture of it, but that's one book that we're gonna read. And then on my list of TBR for nonfiction books that I have for 2026, I have a Diary of a Girl by Anne Frank, which I own that book. It's behind a couple other books on my bookcase, but I do own it. And then I also wanted to read. I'll need to get, if I can find a copy of it, I'll need to get a copy of this book, because I was looking on my bookcase this morning and I do not have it anymore, but it was Mayflower by Nathanial Philbrick. So that's about the Mayflower, and it's a true story. So I thought that would be a fun one to read. And then I also wanted to read Untamed by oh gosh, I'm going to probably butcher this person's name, but
Glennon Doyle.
Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And that's been on my TBR for a while, so I did end up purchasing that with some Christmas money. Well, I also ordered this morning All About Love by Bell Hooks, so those are both supposed to come on the 7th of January. Then my neighbor, Janine, had mentioned the Jane Austen's Bookshelf by Rebecca Romney, I think is how you say the author's name. And that's another book that I do not have that I would be interested in reading. And then I have, when I went to Campobello 2 years ago, I got this book, so I have it on my bookcase, but it's Beloved Island by Franklin and Eleanor, and The Legacy of Campobello by Jonas Klein. I think is, yeah, Klein. So that's another book that I want to read. And then the other book was, I just set up a new StoryGraph account, so I'll link that down below of this video. But I just want to make sure I reference the name of this title correctly, so I am just going to pull it up on my phone. But this is also a nonfiction, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, The Beatles in Time by Craig Brown, which a book Olive had mentioned. I will link her channel down below of which video she mentioned that book in. I think it was one of the books that I think she said she was going to read for 2026, if I remember correctly. I'll have to look back, but yeah. So I wanted to read that. And then my next book on my nonfiction TBR is We Don't Know Ourselves by Fenton O'Toole, which is about the what that one, we don't, if I can find a copy of it, we don't know ourselves is so We Don't Know Ourselves is about the personal history of Ireland since 1958 to 2021, and it is written by a Irish journalist himself, so I think that would be a really fun book to read, or at least I would enjoy it. And it's kind of like a memoir, I guess, in history book, and all that. So that's another one that I want to read. And then another book I own that I want to read is A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. I read that a couple of years ago and really enjoyed it. So I wouldn't mind rereading that again, along with also As Tough as They Come by Staff Sergeant Travis Mills, who is a retired Army paraplegic, I believe they call it. He lost a leg and an arm, so when he was fighting in, I believe, if I remember correctly, in Afghanistan, and so he wrote a memoir about that, and I have actually a signed copy of that book, and I feel like it's very well written and very enjoyable for a nonfiction. So that's another nonfiction book I want to read. And then on my bookcase also I have American Princess, the love story of Meghan Markle and Prince Henry, and that's another nonfiction book which I've been meaning to read for a while. And then the last book on that list, since I've listed the one below it already, is Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shelty, however you say her last name. And I don't have Hidden Figures, I don't own that copy of that book, but I really want to, it's a book I want to read. Also forgot to mention, I also want to read I have it listed in StoryGraph, so I wanted to read the Franklin and it's another Franklin and Eleanor. It's Franklin and Eleanor in an Extraordinary Marriage by Hazel Rowley, however you say that author's name. And that's another book on my nonfiction TBR that I would love to hopefully maybe get to this year. If not, then definitely 2027. But yeah, those are just some nonfiction books I might want to read with either my significant other or if my neighbor's interested in reading any of them, great. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any comments of videos I should do, please do comment down below or on my Facebook page. And I hope everybody has an amazing day and Happy New Year.